into somebody's life and turn over every stone. He had Mick Jagger on the other day. Unbelievable.
Good evening. Welcome to the Monday, November 8th Board of Selectmen meeting. Will you please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Jason, you have the warrants. Can you read those, please?
Yes, I make a motion to approve payroll warrant 2219 in the amount of $176,988.83.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
And a second. Any further discussion? None. All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous.
Make a motion to approve bill warrant 2219 in the amount of $1,334,018.97, which breaks down to the town bills, $43,171.43. Water, sewer, $174,013.58. Payroll withholding, $55,263.86. Light bills, $71,838.12. Grants, $21,979.65. And Pentucket assessment, $1,017,752.33.
There a second?
Second.
And a second. Any further discussion? None. All in favor? Unanimous. We have approval of the minutes. October 12th, 2021 minutes. Everybody get a chance to read those?
I've read those ones. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from October 12th, 2021.
Is there a second on
I'll
that?
second that.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? None. All in favor of the minutes, October 12th? Unanimous. October 26th, 2021 minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve October 26, 2021 minutes.
I'll second that.
And a second. Any further discussion? None. All in favor? Unanimous. Appointments? None. Well, what we didn't do is public comment. Nobody indicated there was any public comment before. Anybody here for public comment? None. Thank you. Discussion and possible vote. Conservation restrictions in accordance with Mass General Laws, Chapter 32, Section 32, Chapter 184-17R, Wood Street, Parcel 08-010, 31.2 acre parcel owned by Douglas N. Latham and Maria Latham, trustees of the Latham Realty Trust. Mike?
Good evening, Mike Dempsey for the Conservation Commission. Tonight we have with us Maggie Brown from Essex County Greenbelt. Oh, sorry about that. Essex County Greenbelt, Maggie Brown, and she's here to explain this conservation restriction and answer your questions. This is a little different than our normal conservation restriction request. This is for a privately owned parcel that they requesting to put into a conservation restriction. So I'll turn it over to Maggie.
Good evening. Maggie Brown, Land Conservation Project Manager at Essex County Greenbelt.
You can remove your mask to speak, yeah.
Yeah, of course. As Mike said, here to discuss the conservation restriction at the Wood Street Tree Farm. The conservation restriction is being granted from the owners to Greenbelt. It would cover the entirety of the parcel, keep the parcel in mostly its natural state and as an active working farm as it is now. it would remain in private ownership, and Greenbelt will be responsible for monitoring and enforcing the terms of the conservation restriction. So we're seeking approval of the conservation restriction as in the public interest this evening. It has been reviewed by the Groveland Conservation Commission and the State Executive Office of Energy and Environmental Affairs. I'm happy to try and answer any questions.
Any questions for Maggie Brown? Dan?
Moving the, or putting the restrictions on it, would it reduce the taxes on the parcel?
The parcel is already in the reduced tax program, Chapter 61.
Right.
So no.
So it's not a tax strategy of sorts to move that over?
It would not reduce the taxes on the parcel.
Okay. And the owners, is the owner here? I mean, it's,
No.
so, are they just doing it out of the goodness of their heart? I'm just curious.
Conservation restrictions can have multiple benefits, and I don't know the details of the family situation.
I guess my question is why?
They want to see it protected. They want to see it stay as an active farm.
Okay. In perpetuity.
Yep. Yes, that's right.
And it would be maintained by your organization?
Well, the conservation restriction terms would be enforced by Greenbelt, but the property would stay in private ownership and continue to be maintained by the family.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Anybody else got a question for Maggie Brown? Bill?
A quick one. Hi, Maggie. In the letter, it says, the CI will permanently preserve the land as a working farm while remaining in private ownership. What happens if that ownership changes hands?
They can sell the property, and the conservation restriction will stay.
If the new owners don't necessarily like this restriction, is it enforced upon new owners in
Yes.
perpetuity?
It's permanent, yes. It runs with the deed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Kathy?
Hi, good evening. So I do remember when you put the property into the farm category. So can I assume that this is just sort of an extra layer of protective? Because just to put it into the farm category doesn't protect it from changing hands somehow and being developed?
Exactly.
Is
Exactly.
that the key here?
Exactly.
Okay, so that's the main difference.
Yep.
This really does protect the land and keep
Yes.
it from being developed.
That's right.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, Jason?
Nope, I'm good.
I just have one. Permitted uses. Number 10. Give me a minute to find it.
It's outdoor passive
I'll get my
recreation.
copy.
and education.
Outdoor passive recreation. Permitted uses, hunting, trapping, hiking, horseback riding, et cetera. So there will be hunting and trapping allowed on there, on that property?
Yes, with the owner's control. So it is not open to the public, but the conservation restriction is saying that those activities are allowed. But it's still in private ownership, so it is up to the owner if they wanted to open up other people to use the property for hunting, snowshoeing, et cetera.
That's what I read here. But will it be so marked that under owner's permission? Will
So
it be,
marked as
will it
what?
be, will it be so marked that they can be hunting and fishing, hunting and trapping, snowshoeing with owner's permission? Will it be marked as such?
That would be up to the owners, like any other property.
Where I'm
If they
going with
wanted
that
to
is,
invite,
where I'm going with that is if there's a conservation restriction on there, and how are the people going to know that these activities are allowed with the owner's permission?
They could ask the owner. I mean, it's like any other privately owned parcel. It doesn't, the conservation restriction doesn't require public access, so it's completely up to the private owners, just like any other parcel.
Will there be trails on that property?
There are not trails now, and so unless the owners create trails, no.
So what's the advantage of other than for preserving it?
Yeah, so the advantage is the natural resource values. That land is at the headwaters of the Parker River, so keeping it in its natural condition creates a buffer for that important water resource. And those recreational values are permitted, but at the owner's permission, just like any other private parcel.
This is 31.2 acres. Is that in the Farm Act, do you know?
I'm sorry?
Is that in the Farm Act, that property?
I'm not familiar with the Farm Act.
The Farm Act, so that, which the government gave money to keep it farming. It couldn't be used for anything else.
In the Chapter 61 program,
I don't know what the chapter and section is.
right?
It is.
Yes, it is. Yes.
It is.
Yes.
So they're already getting a break on their real estate taxes because it's in the Farm Act.
Correct.
Okay, all right, I'm all set with that, thank you. Any other questions, comments?
You need our approval, and why?
We are seeking approval of the conservation restriction as in the public interest, so yes. And we do that to strengthen the conservation restriction, to say that we talked to the Conservation Commission of the town, we talked to the leading Board of Selectmen of the town, and everyone approved of the conservation restriction as in the public interest. So it strengthens the permanency of it.
You know, just forgive my ignorance, but if it's private property, why can't the owner of the property restrict it in any way they want? What do they need my approval for, or anyone else on this board? I'm curious as to what the public policy is regarding, you know,
It's a statewide policy.
it's a state law.
Yeah, so the Executive Office of Energy and Environmental Affairs recommends having approval from the municipal boards on the conservation restriction.
So if we took it to the extreme, everyone in town could say, I want my property to be conservation land, and this Beacon Hill can't do anything about it, and then we're just become a wildlife sanctuary. That would be awful, wouldn't it? I'm just curious. So I just, it kind of blows my mind that a private owner can't restrict the property and give it to, whether it be a charity or a conservation purpose without the Board of Selectmen approving it. It's not my land. I'm voting on something that's not my land. You know, and it's more along the line of zoning. You know, food for thought.
Well, your approval is strengthening the validity of the conservation
Yeah,
restriction.
I'm all for it. I'm all for the wildlife. So, and if that's what the owner wants, so I'm curious why the owner isn't here. But
I'm here to speak of the conservation restriction. I told them they didn't have to come tonight.
Okay, any other comments? Go,
Yes.
Kathy?
Just to clarify for people that are maybe watching on television and don't understand the back and forth, the Latham family put the property into the farming category, I want to say maybe 20 years ago, just to preserve it and keep it looking the way it does. And I think that was a really good thing for the town because we've lost a lot of most of our farming land, I would say, right? And so it sounds as if this will enforce and enhance the protection of that land, because now the state can become an enforcement agent if someone were to try to violate that land. That's what I'm understanding. You would be overseeing that.
Greenbelt.
Yes,
Essex County Greenbelt would.
exactly, yes.
Yep.
And so I see this as a good thing for the town, a win-win, and I'm all for it.
All right, thank you, Maggie, thank you, Mike. No further questions. All in favor of the conservation restriction on 17R Wood Street, 32-acre parcel owned by Douglas and Latham and Maria Latham, trustees of Latham Realty Trust. All in favor? Well, we need a motion first. Motion is second,
I'll second it.
and a second. No further discussion. All in favor? Unanimous. Thank you. Vote to lay out Atwood Lane as a public way. Rebecca, could you just give us a rundown on, I know you were working on this, Atwood Lane, it's all set to go.
Yes, Atwood Estates is looking for acceptance at
Hey,
the,
Could you take the mask off so we can hear you?
Rebecca Oldham,
Black Pine.
current Economic Development Planning and Conservation Director. The development has been completed. There were some outstanding items that the developer was tending to. The developer has completed that punch list of items, and so they are now looking for acceptance and approval of the laying out of the way by the Board of Selectmen to go before town meeting for the fall special town meeting. The Highway Department has signed off on the development. There's just one outstanding item that the developer is tending to currently.
What is that?
Okay,
Oh, thanks.
well, this has all approvals, and, anybody got any questions, on Atwood Lane? And after this, it has to go back to the town meeting vote.
That is correct.
Okay,
This is just for the approval of the laying out of the way.
okay. Jason, you had a question?
What's the one outstanding thing?
There is a catch basin that has a manhole that has shifted, and the developer is regrading that particular area so that when we plow in the winter, the plows won't catch the manhole.
Where is that located on our map?
It's actually right in the center.
Well,
So
that's
it's not a
great
good location. Definitely not a good location.
Not a good
But he
location.
is fixing that.
Okay. Any other questions for Rebecca?
Is he fixing that as we speak?
Yes.
Estimated time of completion?
It should be completed by the end of next week.
Okay, can we have a motion to accept Atwood Lane, accept the layout of Atwood Lane as a public way?
I'll make a motion, we accept Atwood Lane as a public way contingent upon the contractor's completion of the work with the manhole cover.
Yes.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Do we need to make it contingent on a town meeting vote, or do we just lay out the way?
Just laying out the way.
Okay.
Please.
Fair enough.
Okay, there's a motion and a second to lay out Atwood Way as a public way contingent upon the contractor completing manhole cover. Any further comments, questions? Dan?
Make it safe.
Yes.
You need to make it safe, always,
Oh, 100%.
100%.
Always.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Now, there's a motion and a second. All in favor? Unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you.
Fall special town meeting warrant. Vote to close the warrant. And also a vote to approve and sign the warrant. And the articles are here in front of us, the draft. Jason, do you want to start off and read Article 1?
See if the town will vote to transfer $32,000 from stabilization fund account to the personal buyback account, or take any other action relative thereto. and it requires a two-thirds majority vote.
And on the note, an employee is retiring, and the town will need additional funds to buy back accumulated sick time. Any comments on that? We should vote to approve that. Kathy, you had something?
I'm just wondering, is that the name of the account? Because I thought it was the sick leave buyback account. I mean, what is it on the variance report? Because I didn't want it to be vague as to what it's for. You know, make sure that it's used just to buy back sick leave and not other things. I just thought should make sure it's specific to what we think it's specific to.
Is there a separate item or sick leave buyback as far as personal buyback?
We have had a sick leave buyback line, yes.
Rebecca, maybe you can comment on that. The Article 1 on the special town meeting, transfer $32,000 to personal buyback account, and the question was from Kathy is that it should be for accumulated sick leave.
It is.
Or the language, you would like it to say
But is that-
accumulated sick leave?
Well, I'm looking to see if that's the name of the account. Is that the name of the account?
I checked with the town accountant with the drafted language, and I believe she verified the accounts and the account numbers as listed in the draft before you.
Okay, sounds good. We'll need to vote to include this, or why don't we just read them all, and then if we can accept them all at the same time or exclude something. Article 2. Dan, you want to read that one?
Sure. My question's on one. Are we going to circle back, Mr. Chair?
What's that? Yeah, you want to go back to 1?
Yeah, just, my question is, are we funding the sick days? I mean, so we're taking money out of stabilization, is that is it just a kind of a undersight or an oversight in the budgeting process, or do we not have a line item on the budget to fund these accumulated sick days? And in the future, I mean, we should make sure that we're not reactive, and we need special town meetings to move sick money.
I think we had additional retirees that we weren't planning on.
Unanticipated?
Yeah.
Okay.
Jason, is that what you were going to say?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna say.
Well, the contractual employees have their own line item.
But on the issue of accrual, I mean, we must not be accruing if we're hitting the stabilization
But
fund.
what I'm saying, it depends on who's retiring, because we do have contractual lines under the departments.
Oh,
So,
Okay,
I'll read Article 2 if.
I mean, I don't mind putting it on, I would just double check that.
See if the town will vote to transfer $15,000 from stabilization fund number 8500-040-35992-000 to the consultant expense account number 1001-122-54000-054 for a consultant treasurer, but to take any other action relative thereto. Article submitted by Board of Selectmen requires a two-thirds majority. Note, these monies will be used to pay the treasurer consultant to help transition the new town treasurer, period.
any questions or comments on that, Article 3? Oh, I'm sorry, Article 2. Bill, you had something?
That's Sarah, the consultant?
Oh, yes, it is. Yes, so the idea, the point of creating this line is to separate out the expenditures towards the consultant to make it more transparent. And we're in the process of working out the transition from the consultant with our staffing coming back full up, hopefully. We won't be using the consultant for the whole year, I would think not, but there will be a transition phase. My last report from Sarah Hunter was that the Treasury side is completely caught up for the prior fiscal year, so that's been the main focus of her work was getting that year cleaned up and caught up on the Treasury side, and that has been accomplished. So going forward, it would be supportive services for the transitioning of our new treasurer and, reviewing things with the new treasurer so that everybody's on the same page.
So now that the fiscal year is complete, do you know if the auditors have now entered the scene to begin their year-end review and audit?
My understanding is that they usually would have come by in July, but because we were catching up that prior year, they did not make that visit, and they will begin in December, I believe.
Their field work's gonna start next month?
Yes.
Okay, you all set with that, Bill?
Yeah, one more question. Do you know if that will delay their audit report to us?
I'm guessing no, because I think when they come in July, I don't know how much they really do then. I think they just get the lay of the land. I thought the main part of their work begins November, December.
These
And
guys have been with us for a while, so
Right.
they should be very familiar with,
Right,
so it
Right.
should be just field work and, some
correct,
supporting schedules and things like that that
right.
tie everything out. I'm just wondering with the delay, if that'll delay their audit report to us.
Well, last year it was just delayed they had finished it, but we just did not receive it. That's why it was late. It
Well,
was
last year
there.
was COVID, so we had.
Right, it was there on time. It was just we weren't given the report.
Okay,
Yep.
I'll ask. See what-
Okay. Any further comments? None. How about a motion? Well, no, we'll do the motion altogether. Article 3. I'll read that one. To see if the town will vote to transfer $6,500 from the stabilization fund account 8500-040-35992-000 to the public health nurse's salary account 1001-511-51120-51, or take any other action relative thereto. Article submitted by the Board of Health requires a two-thirds majority. Note, due to the COVID-19 and the public health response, the Board of Health is looking to increase the hours of the public health nurse from 6 to 12. Any questions, comments? Bill?
Can any of that be covered by the CARES Act or supplemental government programs or assistance that fall under the COVID Act? Any of several COVID Acts?
If
I don't
could-
know.
I could speak to
Go
that.
ahead, Kathy.
Yeah, so they've already coordinated with Rebecca for the CARES Act funding for the contact tracing, and that's ongoing. This would actually be the actual health nurse, the functional health nurse, which has been only funded at 6 hours per week since I've lived in this town, which is 30 years ago. And what they're finding is with the complications of COVID that it's like a revolving door. They'll hire someone, they'll stay for a little while, and then they leave. So they're hoping that by making it a few more hours a week, they might be able to get somebody who put their foot in the door here. Because right now the position keeps becoming vacant because it's such a small amount of hours and pay. So the hope is that we can get somebody who will want to stick with it and maybe grow the position.
None of that's reimbursable through one of the CARES Acts?
No, this would be the nurses, like the blood pressure clinics, the flu clinics, health alerts, all the things that are not being done because we don't have a health nurse at present.
Right, I'm just saying the difference in hours. If we could
No,
charge that
because she wouldn't necessarily be doing just COVID related. I think because of COVID, the job market for anybody in the health profession is difficult. Everybody wants them, right? So we're competing with just offering 6 hours a week, and we have not been able to. We've been through 2 nurses, not because of anything we've done, but just because the hours are so small. They start in and then they decide, nah, it's not, not working out for them.
Okay,
Yeah.
thanks.
Okay.
Okay. Everybody all set with that one? Article 4. Bill, you want to read Article 4?
Sure. to see if the town will vote to transfer the sum of $41,168.38 from fiscal year 2021 Sewer Enterprise Department retained earnings to offset the Haverhill Capital Bond expense line, item number 6510-440-5800-058, funding shortfall. Some or sums of money to be expended by the Water and Sewer Commission to pay for unpaid bills of the town from previous fiscal years or to take any other action related thereto. Article submitted by the Board of Selectmen requires 9/10 majority? Is that right?
That's a new one on me.
9/10?
Ask Rebecca. She knows.
Really? Wow. So 90 out of 100 folks show up at town meeting and 90 have to vote for it?
We did get that verified from town council, and also another error with that particular, article, it should say FY '22, not FY '21.
Okay.
But yes, it is 9/10.
Oh, I see. Yep, right there.
Wow.
What
Got
if you
it.
don't get it?
Don't pay the bill.
Then what?
You can talk to Haverhill.
Jeez, it's food for thought.
Wow. Okay, note Groveland Water and Sewer
11 votes.
Department has an intermunicipal agreement with the city of Haverhill. An invoice was not sent to Groveland in fiscal 20, should that be 21?
That one is correct, it is FY '20.
Okay.
With the
And this
rail.
article is to allow Groveland Water and Sewer Department to pay the fiscal 20 bill invoice. Wow. 9/10. God bless.
Any questions, comments on that, on Article 4? None.
Yeah, whose brainchild was the 9/10?
What's that?
Who come up with the 9/10?
It's the law,
The same as the gas
it's in-
tax, I guess, you know,
because,
9/10.
because it's not in this fiscal year.
Probably an attorney.
Yep.
Should be like the standard for President of the United States. There'd never be another one.
Rebecca, to Dan's point, if this doesn't get 90 out of 100, what happens?
Turn the sewer off.
My understanding is that if it does not get the appropriate votes, then the article will fail, and we will not be able to allocate those additional monies towards that particular bill.
Right, I get all that.
And then what?
And then what?
So it
Did
really,
they shut the sewer down and all of a sudden it starts backing up in my toilet at home, or?
I highly doubt that is the case. There could be other mechanisms to try and wait until the spring town meeting if we needed to wait, or other ways that the Water and Sewer Department could try and come up with the additional funds in their existing budget if there was no impact to their operating budget otherwise. I'm sure we could figure something out, and I don't believe that the city of Haverhill, when they failed to send us a bill that was their responsibility, is going to just shut off our sewer as a matter of public health and safety.
There's no interest and penalties associated with that?
There shouldn't be, since they never sent us the bill, and we did pay the former fiscal year bill, so we did pay the FY '21. So we are current, they just didn't send us the FY '20 bill, and that mistake was found when we paid the FY '21 bill.
Right. And now, if this fails at this special town meeting and it goes to spring meeting, is it still 9/10? Is it 9/10 always?
I believe, yes, because of the way that the law is written, if you're paying a bill in a former fiscal year, but I'd have to talk to town council and get the official ruling, but that's my understanding, is that because it is not in the current fiscal year, it requires a much larger percentage of the vote.
So you're saying they may never get their money? Just realistic 9/10. I mean, I'm gonna go, out on a limb here and think there might be 15 people out of 100 that will vote no. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Moving on to Article 5.
Something to
Kathy, you want to read that one?
To see if the town will vote to accept as a public way under the provisions of Mass General Law, Chapter 82 as amended. Graham, is that how you spell it, pronounce it? Graham? Graham, thank you. Graham Way is laid out by the Board of Selectmen and shown on a plan entitled Plan of Land in Groveland, Mass. Street acceptance plan showing right-of-way, Graham Way, as prepared for SD Way Realty Trust, George Hazeltine, if I'm saying it correctly, trustee prepared by Millennium Engineering, Inc., dated May 11th, 2020, as filed in the Planning Department and the Office of the Town Clerk, and to authorize the Board of Selectmen to acquire by such means and upon such terms and conditions as they see fit, such interests in land as are necessary to provide for the use and maintenance of said way for all purposes for which public ways are used in the town of Groveland, or pass any vote or take any action relative thereto. I think it was one sentence I just read. Let me just say that for the record. That was one sentence.
A lot of
There's no
comments.
period.
Any other comments, questions on Article 5? Bill, go ahead.
Graham Way, specifically where that is, and recall my,
Off of SD by Uptack.
okay. Gotcha.
Any other comments? Article 6. Jason, you want to read that one?
Article 6, to see if the town will vote to accept as a public way under the provision of Mass General Law, Chapter 82, as amended Atwood Lane as laid out by the Board of Selectmen and shown on plan entitled Street Acceptance Plan of Atwood Lane located in Groveland, Mass., as prepared for Evergreen Realty Estate Trust, Al Coulard Trust, prepared by the Morn Cameron Group Incorporated, dated March 17th, 2021, as filed in the Planning Department and the Office of the Clerk, and to authorize the Board of Selectmen to acquire such means and upon such terms and conditions as they see fit, such interest in the land as necessary to provide for the use and the maintenance of said way for all purposes of which public ways are used in the town of Groveland, or pass any vote or taken any action relative thereto.
And we just gone over that one. Rebecca, under Article 6, Planning Board recommends that should be favorable action after that. Okay. Article 7. Dan, you want to read that one, please?
Sure. See if the town will vote to transfer $111,657 from the stabilization fund account number 8500-050-35992-000 to the Pentucket supplemental assessment line item number 1001-301-57,000-57, or take any other action relative thereto. Article submitted by the Board of Selectmen requires a 2/3 majority. Note the removal of ESSER, all caps, ESSER 2 funds as an allowable revenue source impacted the assessment. This article proposes to supplement those funds. Mr. Chair,
Go ahead.
could somehow, some way we get a definition of ESSER 2 funds in there so myself and everyone else knows what ESSER means?
I haven't got the answer to that. Jason, you gonna handle on that one?
No. But let me see.
Can you drum
Is
that
it an
right up?
acronym? What is it?
Yes,
That's
it's
an
an
acronym.
acronym.
We can have it ready for town
We should
meeting.
define our acronyms.
No, because then they'll just change it on
Jason,
us.
Jason's gonna pick it up here.
They'll change it.
Yeah.
That's right. You know they will.
My keyboard's not working.
And that's prepared by the state, I guess, right?
It's, yeah,
Department of Education, or who's the authority on that has the Coca-Cola formula, and we gotta pay $111,000?
Elementary and Secondary School Emergency Relief Fund,
There you go.
and some relief it was. I recently found a letter from the school district that said they were going to allocate that $250,000 to Groveland as part of this grant. And I had a long talk with Greg LeBrecq in the parking lot at TD Bank on Sunday about this, that the legislature at Beacon Hill basically pulled this rug out from under us after town meeting, after the budgets are all set, and this doesn't just affect Groveland, it affects all 360 some odd communities in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Why they did it after everybody had already set their budgets in stone is still the $64,000 question, but it's hurtful to everyone. And this is the,
Okay,
School
any
should
other
pay for
questions
this.
on Article 7? None. Article 8, to see if the town will vote to transfer $75,000 from the stabilization fund account number 8500-040-35992-000 to make capital upgrades at the Bagnell School, including all costs incidental and related thereto, or take any other action related thereto. Article submitted by the Board of Selectmen requires a two-thirds majority. These funds will be used for the Bagnell School for asbestos abatement work. Questions or comments on that, on Article 8? Dan?
Real nitpicky thing, typo, space after the account number, 85,000. Space 2.
Oh, between the word two and the 000, yeah. Just needs a little space.
That's my comment. Question, I thought we had talked about maybe seeing if they could accelerate this to get the classrooms done. Maybe get a better price, maybe. Weren't we kicking around just finishing it?
You do them all at once?
Yeah, didn't we talk about that?
yeah.
If I could.
I don't know if we ever got a conclusion on that, or if Jim Day responded, and if we got a price, but how do we get to 75,000 without addressing that issue?
Kathy?
I think if we check back with Greg LeBrecq, we will find out that there are quite a few more classrooms that need to be done. It's not a small quantity in that. It's not something that can be done in a one-year period without really disrupting the school. So I think that for now, the plan of doing the areas that they've set aside for this year, again, getting back on track to continue, because there's, I think we were under the impression there was only a few more classrooms left to do, but I believe there might be quite a few more classrooms left to do. So let's take some time during the budget process this year and get concrete information on this.
We need to know if there's a few or quite a few.
Well, I think
Because we got a big development in the pipeline, and
Correct.
if we're gonna put X amount of kids in the school, we better have seats, desks, classrooms, and like to know about it a year or two ahead of time.
yes, but this year,
midst.
they're not coming this year, and secondly, part of the school is being utilized by the IT department. So we do have extra space that's usable for classrooms during the time when we deal with the asbestos. So I would wait and meet with the Pentucket, with Greg LeBrecq and the head of maintenance in Pentucket, and ask them to give us a more exact number of classrooms. They have a better idea how many classrooms there are.
Mr. Chair, one more comment on that.
Go ahead.
Whereas the town's paying for it, we should have us say, if not more of us say, and how the money's spent and whether or not if we could budget for a better deal to get these done sooner or later. If the sum of the parts is greater than the whole, I want to do it all at once and bang it out. And maybe they can't do it during this school year, but if we could plan for the summertime, you know, there's efficiency, you know. If you got to pick it up, put it down, pick it up, put it down, you know, pack up your gear and go home and come back on a later date. It's expensive for the contractors. I'd like to be more efficient on it and try to get a price. End it. You know, it just lingers. It goes from year to year, you know. That's my 2 cents on it. I think in the long run, it's just going to cost us more money. And are we going to be ready for the new kids coming into the school district? Who knows?
Okay. Anybody else?
Yeah.
Bill?
You know, I'm just reviewing my notes from August 16th and August 30th, and you're right, and you seem to be at odds, because in both of those meetings, I asked the question, and the answer was there were 3 rooms that needed to be remediated with the asbestos, and there were the hallways. So we're at tremendous odds if he says there's several more.
All I'm suggesting is that I think Dan, he's interested in was he should send a letter to Greg LeBrec and ask for them to put together a list of all the rooms, because my understanding is there's more than just 3. That was perhaps not as concrete as we thought.
Right, but in our conversations with
I know,
Principal Day
I
here,
understand.
he confirmed that there are only 3 rooms left
But-
that needed to be, that had the asbestos issues that needed to be remediated. There were some water bubbler issues, I get that, but in both meetings, both of my notes,
I
3
agree.
rooms.
Your notes are correct for the meeting, but that may not be how many rooms there are. So if you consider that we just started the abatement process under Denise, and all of the old section of the building has to be abated.
Still, we're
anything
doing
that
3
wasn't-
rooms a year, and Jim Day, Principal
Right, so
Day has
we've
been
only-
there
how-
since they erected the building around him, I think. How does he not know? I have to believe
Exactly how many rooms are there,
He
I
is
don't
the
know.
best, he's the best, he has the best knowledge of what
Well,
goes
I
on
would
in that
reach out,
building.
somebody should send a letter and get it in writing, because I would like to see it in writing, please.
Yeah, so would I, because I don't want to pay to rehab a room that doesn't really need it, just
Correct.
because the school district would like to see it rehabbed.
Yes.
Mr.
I think that if you look back in the old Pentucket budgets under the maintenance, they do list things back there that we don't get to see that often. But I think for now, I think if we reach out and ask for an exact accounting of all the rooms in Bagnell and what's been abated, when I think of that school and how many classrooms are in the old section, it's quite a few classrooms, and I'm sure we haven't done all those. So-
If I recall the conversation, we did discuss doing it all at once to see if we could just make it happen.
Yes,
And
we
the
did.
figure that I remember, that I recall, and a pretty good memory, was somewhere around 200,000, little bit under, to do the whole thing complete during the Christmas vacation. And Mr. Day thought, Principal Day thought that that could be a reality. And along with Dan, I'm kind of in agreement. If we can save money and time by hitting this whole nut at one time,
And all I'm asking for is for you and Dan to reach out and get it in writing, please, because I'm getting some conflicting information through Greg LeBrec, so
Mr.
Dan,
Chair,
go
I
ahead.
don't know.
like suggestion, I mean, this is such an important issue, not only in cost, but benefit and outcome. And my suggestion is we have time. If we could get Jim Day back on. I'm curious as to why we were talking with Jim Day. Actually, strike that. I'm curious as to why it went in a different direction, and now it's, your suggestion, Selectwoman Castellalis, that we talked with Greg about it. Why is district, school district involved in this before it was the principal, and it's our building and our bill and our problem? Other than the logistics of the kids and the schedule on the calendar and the school year, but ultimately it's the taxpayers in Groveland that are going to foot this bill. And I was led to believe that we were going to get some sort of bid on that, and I don't want to be ignored on it, and I don't know why it's just 75,000. But I'd like Jim Day on the next agenda, Mr. Chair, and have him clarify whether or not they sought out any bids, or if there was any effort to get this done sooner than later. But I don't know if something dropped the ball or it switched for some reason, but here it is on our desks, and I feel like something was ignored.
Okay, we can get him on. Bill, you had something?
yeah, I was just going to say, there was an email that I responded to about a meeting, and I'll try to re-engage that meeting with Mr. Day, Mr. LeBrec, and maybe Rebecca at the Bagnell School to go over classroom by classroom so I can have a definitive answer by next meeting, exactly the number and the cost, and no more garbage.
Rebecca, you had
Numbers.
something to add?
I think he asked for a meeting, and I responded right away. I said, let's do it on a Friday.
Yeah, I was
So there,
unavailable. I apologize on that, too.
We had a couple of issues that came about specifically with some flooding damage that occurred in one of the rooms and whether or not that room specifically needed abatement. It was found that that room did not need abatement, and then we had gone through our insurance agent to collect monies in order to pay for that, working with the Pentucket Facilities Coordinator, Robert Danforth and Greg Hayden, and then also working with Principal Day. We have authorized them to move forward, and they are looking to rectify that issue in the activity room over Christmas break. At that last meeting that we had with the Board of Selectmen, we also identified a couple of other areas that needed abatement. They were the room 23, the back hallway, and the remaining hallways. We were provided with a plan that shows and outlines all of the areas in which need to be abated, as well as the estimates and quotes from companies in the surrounding area. If I go back to my computer, I can send you all of that information so that you are aware of the plan moving forward.
I knew there was one.
How much of that damage is covered by insurance?
I forget the actual cost. I know there was a deductible involved.
Our deductible was $2,500, I think.
There was something of that nature, and I think the total cost was about four grand, if I'm not mistaken, something
Yes.
around there.
I think we had to come, yeah.
Go ahead, Dan.
Yeah, I think it's prudent, and I think people at special town meeting are going to ask us, what are we getting for $75,000? So I think we should have that answer, or we're going to be sitting there looking at each other.
So do
And
you
I-
think that I should include the plan with the actual?
I think so. I think more information is better than not. Have the packet available. I don't know if it legally needs to be, incorporated in the article, but certainly that information should be posted on the town website so that people can see what we're spending $75,000 on. Because with this, it just says, capital upgrades at the Bagnell School. So I want to know, are we getting 2 rooms? Are we getting a hallway? Are we getting half a school room? I mean, what do we get for our money? I have no idea.
I will include the plan on the website, and I can include it in the handout that's distributed at town meeting.
And it has detail of the work
It has
order.
the detail of the actual plan in place, the areas that need and require abatement, if there's tile work associated with such, and then also it includes a quote that was submitted.
All right. Now, the follow-up to that, and that's why we need Jim Day and maybe Greg LeBrecq, I don't know, everyone that we need that's in the know. What is left after that project's completed?
We do have a list that we're
'Cause-
working on, and we can share that, and I would definitely suggest that we bring
'cause-
Principal Day before the board to discuss that.
Yeah, because if I were a taxpayer, I'd say, okay, you're going to ask for another $75,000 next year, or in the spring, or another $175,000 or $275,000. Where are we, downstream on this?
We do have a capital plan in place, and I can provide that to the board, and he can come in and discuss the specifics with the board if that's what the board would like.
I think we need it.
Shouldn't be too difficult to get those answers.
Not at all.
We'll see if we get, I'm sorry, what?
It won't be difficult at all.
We'll
Thank
see if
you.
we can get Jim Day on the agenda for the next meeting, and hopefully before that, we can get answers to these questions.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think the first thing we need to vote to close the warrant.
I'll make a motion to close the special town meeting warrant for Monday, December 6, 2021.
The motion to close the warrant, is there a second on that?
I'll second that.
And a second. Any further discussion? Bill?
Yeah, I have a total of $240,167, which is all going against the stabilization fund.
Yes, it is.
Do we have a current balance?
We can get one. That's a good question.
We just looked at that in the audit report. Dan looked it up. Was it
I know, and I can't
Was it
remember.
1.8 million or 2 million? Come on, you remember numbers, you know. Yeah, it's like 1.8.
It was like $2 million,
Yeah,
but
it
I
was
don't,
like
you know,
Give or
1,000,008, 2 million,
Yeah, give or
close
take.
enough for hand grenades.
All right. Any other questions?
Yes.
Go ahead.
It said, it's to be posted in 3 parts of the town known as Savoryville, the Village, and South Groveland.
Yep.
And, where do I live? Where is Savoryville?
Wyko Lane.
You should,
It's a history lesson.
The Savoryville was always out here by, I believe, out here by Broad Street, Main Street, in that area. South Groveland's on the other side of the railroad tracks.
Yeah.
The village is usually posted here at the town hall.
So like I said, which one of those am I in?
you're not.
I've been here 15 years, and I'm like, I don't live in South Groveland. I don't live in the
No,
No,
village.
you're not.
You're not Southie.
I'm like
You're probably at the village.
the village people. Thank you. Just curious. I learn something new every day I come here.
All right, motion to close the warrant. There was a second. No further discussion. All in favor of closing the warrant? Unanimous. Now we need to vote to approve the warrant. Says here, vote to approve and sign the warrant. We did have a couple of areas. Rebecca, just a question on Article 4. Are you going to change the 2021 to 2022 prior to us signing it? Or are you going to, we're going to amend that on the town meeting floor?
I've already changed it.
Okay. And then on Article 8, okay.
The spacing error.
7, S or 2.
There's just a space missing, but it's not. Otherwise, it's a very nice looking warrant.
Okay, I'll take a motion to approve the warrant.
I'll make a motion to approve the warrant with the corrections, the small
Is there a
corrections.
second on that?
I'll second that.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Dan?
We can always amend on town meeting floor, let's just say Article 8. There was a possibility of changing that and getting more classrooms done sooner than later. Is that how it would proceed? Should the people decide?
I would think so.
Okay. And following up with
A point of information,
Mr. Day and
I don't believe you're allowed to amend upwards by a significant amount. The whole point of posting a warrant is to forewarn people of the amount of money that's asking to be spent. So if you put in 75,000 and you decide that you want to now spend 375,000, you can check with the town attorney. I'm not the town attorney, but I suggest you do, because I don't think that they would consider that within the boundaries of what was posted. You haven't really forewarned people that you intended to spend that sum of money.
when is the deadline to approve these? Is it today?
We're very close because of the holiday, and I don't know, the
Yeah,
town
it's
clerk would give the exact.
Coming
count.
up quick.
So if we wait till the next meeting to talk to Jim Day and others, then it's gonna be a moot point. There's nothing we can do
I
about
think that's a
changing it.
moot point at that point.
It will be done.
There will be water under the bridge.
Well, I would think that if we decide that we want to do an all these rooms at once kind of thing, and not the piecemeal, do the piecemeal, but I'd like to see a plan and have some time to review it. I don't want to be rushed into that decision to spend a significant amount of money that might disrupt the whole school and educational process. So, I mean, you got to take a little time when you're deciding. You can't just start ripping up the whole school all summer. We need to get somebody in there that tells us how long it takes to do these things, which sections of the school would be closed, what about the summer camp? You need to have all these moving parts taken into consideration. So it's a lot more than just saying do it.
And I thought they were looking into doing that a month ago or more.
No, I don't think so.
I think they were. And so, so the people know, I didn't draft this, and I'm curious as to, how it even gets on my table here, It's so, there's the, certain, behind the scenes here, people come up with these numbers, and I hadn't
nothing to do with the decision on what made the draft and what didn't make the draft. So I question the process on this. We did talk about it previously, and I was, expected, at least some information on whether or not we could do more or less. And maybe Jim Day will just come back and say yes, and the answer was you only can do a couple classrooms at a time. It's just not going to get done all at once. That's all. I just thought somehow, some way that would,
Yes, but
come before us. So I'm flying blind on this thing. And, if I missed the email, I apologize in advance, but I just, I thought there was going to be, do a little bit of it and get some information on just banging it out.
Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead.
Just to clarify, I mean, we met with Principal Day because the article was left off of the annual town meeting warrant that we typically do, and it's typically $75,000 for, a couple of rooms and three
It's
rooms.
typically 25 a
Okay,
room.
right.
And we typically
And-
we've been doing 3 rooms a year for a number of years, and we missed last year.
So,
this is
A catch-up.
wait,
is a catch-up.
okay, so, right, so I had the floor, excuse me. The chairman gave me the floor, thank you. So, when Principal Day came before us, you did ask some questions about doing more rooms, and on the spot, he was trying to, facilitate the conversation and say how many more rooms it would take. But we didn't really reach a concrete number at that meeting. All we knew of was the 75,000. So I feel that the process has been transparent. It's been in this room. We've been discussing it. And that this bigger idea could very well have merit, but I think it will take somebody from the board taking time outside of our meetings to kind of track it down. And maybe that will be Selectman O'Neill.
I'm going to start an email
Thank you.
chain right now to see
Okay.
if I can get a group together and go over this stuff and get a detail.
All right, Dan, you had another?
Yeah, just,
Follow-up?
it's asbestos abatement. Get the asbestos out of there, So the year after year after year, the kids go to school in a building with asbestos. So, and whose infinite wisdom was it to delay the process of abating it instead of accelerating the abatement? So I just, you know what? I can't unring the bell. All I can do here is talk.
Okay, there's a motion and a second to approve the warrant. Any further discussion? None. All in favor? Approval of the warrant. Unanimous.
Right. And just to thank you to all the staff that worked on this warrant. It's done, well done and under the gun, under short time, so thank you.
Okay, next order of business, temporary replacement of the administrator coordinator position. Selectwoman Castronellis to report findings. Kathy?
Findings. Sounds like I've been on a mission. So, I've spoken with the ultimate, oh my goodness, ultimate personnel. I'm kind of blanking on the second part of their name, but in thinking about the tasks and what we need to have done, you keep running into a problem that, first of all, we have not finished appointing the town administrator. I think we need to complete that step. And then I think that the issue of hiring some temporary help perhaps to fill in some of the time that we don't have from other employees, I feel like that needs to be further discussed, because most of the things that are done for us at this time, like putting together an agenda, posting the agenda, knowing how to organize the packet, knowing what to put in the packet, requires training. You can't just bring in a temp and dump them on the desk and say, go do it. They won't know how to do it. So I think for the time being, we need to complete the process of hiring the town administrator. And then I would be glad to work with the town administrator or turn this over to the town administrator to determine what type of temporary replacement we need. Because it is costly, and I don't want to waste money unnecessarily.
Okay, any comments? None. Do you want to make a motion to hold off until such time as we have a town administrator and let that person weigh in on it? Or go about Jason?
I think we just close it out and leave it. It's done. It can be brought back up a later time if,
Okay, you
town
want to table,
administrator
you want to
chooses
table
to.
that?
No, I don't want to table it. I just want to close it. It's done. We don't need to discuss it further in the future. If it needs to be brought up again, then somebody will request it be put on the agenda. That way it won't carry on and on and on.
It's a good point.
Okay,
I'm good with that.
so you want to just let it slide? Any comments on that?
Is that the right thing to do?
What's that?
Is that the right thing to do?
For where we
Well,
are.
kicking the can down the street, you know you're gonna need a administrative coordinator. You know, you have a job description on file. You know you're gonna need the assistance.
What, we're not, I mean,
What's that?
it takes us forever to hire anyone, so what are we gonna do in the interim?
What are you gonna do in the interim?
Well, just, you know,
Well, Rebecca was a great help with compiling the agenda for this meeting.
is Rebecca gonna do everything?
He's trying.
Where's Rebecca?
She's hiding back there.
You know, it's, there's a void, and, you know, if we get the temp, and maybe they can do some things, but not other things, you know, it's just snowballs and neglect. It's like a rust. It just never sleeps. It just,
Well, we do have a funded position for an administrative coordinator at, I think it was, with 19 hours a week, it was bumped up to 24, 25. We do have a job description, duties, and responsibilities. I'd like to put out I'd like to put the job out. We're looking for a part-time administrative coordinator.
yeah, Mr. Chair, I agree. I mean, it's like fishing. If we don't like what we get for applicants, it's just throw back until we get a keeper. I mean, what do we got to lose by posting it?
Time.
Well, if we do nothing, nothing happens. So,
Yeah.
I mean, we could get that result.
I think we ought to post the position.
Can make a motion to post the position, see what happens.
Post the position. There's a motion to post the position. I'll second that. Any further discussion on, Jason, go ahead.
Yeah, I think I agree with Selectwoman Castronellis that I think the most important thing is to get the town administrator squared away so that the job description and posting can be tweaked if necessary. So we're not reposting and posting things that might not necessarily be accurate at this time.
Okay. Any other comments? None. There's a motion on the floor to post the position of administrative coordinator for the Board of Selectmen. All in favor? 2 opposed? 3, motion fails. Next, order of business. Stipends for town hall employees, Selectmen Navies to report findings.
Yes, and as far as I know, this will be the last week that there's any stipends, if I have that correct.
He's
Okay?
staring into the
So I
abyss.
believe it's a moot point, and moving forward, we just don't do it.
Okay? So, going forward, this is the last week. Next item of business, Monday night hours for town hall employees. I think, Rebecca, you wanted this put on the agenda.
Yes, the only reason I asked if we could make a determination is because I don't believe that an official determination was made, if it was just those offices that were listed in the bylaw, or whether other offices who were open historically on Monday night hours, if they should resume those hours, and just to have a clear vote by the board so that it can be relayed to the staff so that they're fully aware of what is being expected of them.
Okay, I thought we had determined at the last meeting, I think Bill had suggested it, that we just follow the town bylaw, which was just the town clerk and the town treasurer.
Okay. We'll just need to figure out the other departments because, you know, certain employees are expected to work a certain amount of hours a week. And so by taking away those night hours, we'll have to shift their other hours during the week in order to accommodate for their hours to be what it is that they were hired to do. So whether that be Friday, whether it be longer days, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, what have you. You know, if an employee is scheduled to work 37 hours a week and you take away the nighttime hours, they have to be distributed somewhere in order for them to make up those hours. So it would just be whether or not the same schedule that was pre-COVID carries through. I think it would just be a clearer way of instructing the staff as to what they should do next, unless there's a specific issue that a department has and would like to alter those hours that are not listed. Then maybe that's a conversation we can have as well. But there are more than those 2 offices that were historically open on Monday night hours, and
That's
those
right.
staff members do have
The fire
designated
chief.
hours that they must make up.
Rebecca's correct. Fire chief had office hours, the building inspector. I think we probably need to get information on the pre-COVID, what was going on and how, can we transition back to that? Will that work?
I think that should be fine. I just
okay.
want it to be clear because there's a little
Okay.
bit of confusion as to, is it just those 2 offices and now we're readjusting our schedules, or is it everybody back to pre-pandemic hours and then we will address moving forward as the Board of Selectmen sees fit?
Jason, go ahead.
I think I'd like to make a motion to go back to pre-COVID hours at Town Hall. And then we can allow Rebecca to clarify with the staff on what that is and who that was.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second. We go back to pre-COVID hours for the town hall. Any comments, questions, discussion? None. All in favor of the motion? Unanimous. Next. Board of Selectmen Policies and Procedures. Selectwoman Castronellis to present drafts. Don't know if we really need this because this has all been voted on in the past.
Are you recognizing me to have the floor?
What's that?
Are you recognizing me to present
Oh,
this?
go ahead.
Thank you. So I looked through policies that, there's a few that the selectmen have, but they're not that many. And then I reviewed policies and procedures of our school committee, which are very comprehensive, impressive. And I also reviewed policy and procedures of surrounding towns. And I certainly noted that in reviewing policy and procedures across different towns, that when boards of selectmen moved up to 5 members, as we did, that it becomes a little more important to have some operating norms. When you have a committee that's larger than 3, when it gets to 5 or 7 or 9, like a school committee, you need to have some operating norms to ensure that the meetings are run efficiently and effectively, and that all members of the board are allowed equal time on the floor if they so desire. So when I was on the school committee, we had actually started the process of accepting policies and procedures, and what we adopted was that we would look at them at one meeting, discuss them. If we wanted to make changes to them, make the changes. We had a subcommittee doing this. And then at the subsequent meeting, we would bring them up for vote. So we wouldn't present a policy or procedure and expect it to be voted at that same meeting. The idea being to give everybody time to mull it over and look it over and think about it. So we usually did 2 to 3 policies at the school committee meeting per meeting in order to try to cover everything. So I took a stab at it, and I presented in the packet 3 3 operating policies and procedures, and I wrote a little preamble to it that the Board of Selectmen of the Town of Groveland, recognizing the need to codify the traditional and accepted working relationships among members of the board, between the board and the town administrator, and between the board and other town boards, committees, officials, and citizens, as well as the need to consolidate town policies and procedures, have undertaken to create operating procedures for the Board of Selectmen. Acceptance of the policies and procedures embodied herein shall supersede all previous policies and procedures accepted by past boards of selectmen. The term MGLA shall refer to Mass General Laws as amended. And then it goes on to say that a policy may be initiated by a member of the board, the town administrator, a town employee, or by a citizen of the town requesting that the chairman provide for discussion of the proposed policy in the agenda of a regular meeting. I won't read all of that follows.
Yeah, I think that,
And then-
I think that,
I haven't-
that we should read this over.
I just wanted to present the 3 that I had on here, just to present the 3 procedures that I put in there.
Yeah, go ahead.
It won't take long. Thank you. So, policy and procedure on debate. No member shall be allowed to speak more than once on any one subject until every other member choosing to speak thereon shall have spoken, and no member shall speak more than twice upon any one subject, nor for longer than 5 minutes without leave of the board. That's Robert's Rules Parliamentary. And then speaking decorum. No member shall be interrupted while speaking, but by call to order for correction of a mistake, nor shall there be any conversation among members while a question is being stated, while a member is speaking, or paper is being read. If a member is speaking and otherwise transgresses the rules of the board, any member may call to order by addressing the chairman. No person shall address the board without first being recognized by the chairman. Each person addressing the board shall do so in an orderly manner and shall not make repetitious, slanderous, or irrelevant remarks or engage in other disorderly conduct which disrupts, disturbs, or otherwise impedes the orderly conduct of the board meeting. Any person who disrupts the meeting may, at the discretion of the chairman or a majority of the board, be subject to ejection from the meeting. Meetings of the board. Regular board meetings are held on the first and third Monday of each month. The board shall not hold meetings on days that are designated as legal holidays. The town administrator is responsible for posting all board meetings in compliance with the open meeting law. Regular board meetings shall adjourn no later than 9 p.m. unless a majority of the board votes to continue the meeting at that time. A meeting called for any time other than the regular meetings shall be known as a special meeting. The same rules as those established for regular meetings shall apply unless an unforeseen emergency requires a special meeting to be scheduled on a legal holiday. Special meetings shall be called by the chairman in consultation with the town administrator and with an informal consent of the majority of the board members. The board may conduct informal working sessions from time to time. Such meetings shall be posted in accordance with the open meeting law. A synopsis of transactions of informal meetings shall be made part of the recording of meeting minutes. Those are the 3 proposed procedures.
Okay, we can read those over. Compare them with what we have at the present time, and we can put that on the agenda for the next meeting
Thank you.
and bring that up at that time. Selectmen's time and reports. Dan, do you have anything?
Yeah, at what point can we stop wearing these masks? Okay, at some point in our society, we gotta go back to normal, whatever normal is. But, you know, I think there's an impact wearing the masks. My kids go to school, and they wear masks in school, but when they go to the cafeteria and they eat, they can take their masks off. So if you can transmit COVID, why can't you transmit it in the cafeteria? So we're consistently inconsistent. People go to restaurants, they take their masks off. So it's either all or none, as far as I'm concerned. I just think it spreads hysteria. Some people have anxiety over it. It's more than just an annoyance. It has a detrimental impact on our society and just happiness and liberty in general. So I'd ask the Board of Health to consider removing the requirement that we wear masks within the building. And I understand the arguments some people aren't vaccinated and they can spread. Well, people that are vaccinated can spread too. And if you're really that concerned, get yourself a hazmat suit. But I think it's gone too far in our society, and enough is enough. Thank you.
You want to see if we could get the Board of Health in at another meeting to,
Explain why.
okay. We'll try for that for the next meeting. Bill, you have anything?
Yeah. I'd like to ask the Board of Health to continue the mask mandate because science is the rule of the day. I believe in science. I don't believe in fairy tales. Mother Goose is a great story, but penicillin is even a better story. Medical science is how we got in this. Medical science is how we get out of it. And I'll continue to wear a mask to protect myself and my loved ones. Hope you do too.
Hey, Jason, you have anything?
Yeah, I had forgotten to thank Angus for taking some time to chat with me. So I wanted to make sure I thanked him publicly because he gave me an incredible amount of information, and it was great talking to him. I look forward to speaking with him again.
Who is this?
Angus,
Oh,
over in West Newbury.
yeah, pretty smart guy.
Yes. And I also wanted to thank Lori and our health department for getting together the information about how many people in Groveland are vaccinated. And she got me the breakdown of the age groups, and it's very, very useful information.
Okay. Kathy?
I'm looking forward to a better Thanksgiving holiday than last year, I think. Want to recognize our veterans this Thursday. My father, who's not with us any longer, was a Marine over in Korea, and proud to the day he died of his service. I remember that. So I always feel pride on Veterans Day. I guess moving forward, I would like to have a little leeway from my board members to look into some of the trash collection issues that have occurred recently. I thought we had gotten past that, and I'm a little bit concerned that we might be falling backwards a little bit. I'm not positive of that, but I read an email from a resident, and it was concerning to me. I don't want to just go off on my own. If other board members are interested and want to help, that'd be great. Yes?
Yeah, just really quickly, I saw that same email and I immediately reached out to Waste Management,
So did I.
Mr. Boyer,
Yep.
to find out what the story was, what the issues were, and please report back to me ASAP.
I kinda
So
did the
that I
same.
understand what's
Right.
going on, what needs to be corrected, and why, at this point in time, it hasn't been already. It wasn't a very friendly email, so that's probably why I didn't get a response yet.
Yeah, I said please at the end.
I wasn't so nice because
I know.
this is now, it's not
It's been.
It's not an every now and then thing anymore. This has become a regular occurrence, and it's a real inconvenience. It's a real health problem, a health hazard.
It is.
It causes, the animals are getting in that. It's a pain. So
So what I did ask for from Mr. Boyer is a list of where they think the problems have been over the last few weeks, because I'm curious as to their own reporting system, if they're aware of what's happening at the local level. I found out when we were having the worst problems that they weren't really necessarily aware, that it wasn't making it all the way back up the chain. So this could be something, too, that the town administrator could help us with, because I also had a resident call with a suggestion that I thought was not a bad idea, that if a trash truck breaks down, which doesn't happen a lot, but every other
or
month.
catches on fire.
Well, let's put that pin on that one, but breaks down, could there be a code red call that the Tuesday route will not be completed and will be completed Wednesday morning first thing? Just so people know, and a posting on the website. Just so people know whether to bring their trash in or, what do you do? We don't really get information out to everybody. And I know from calling the 800 line, sometimes you get through, sometimes you don't. You know, when you do get through, they're very nice, they're very polite, but when you don't, when you get dropped, you do get dropped. That's happened. So I feel like locally, we should try to come up with some things that will help our residents get better services. I certainly would like to see that, this trash not be as frustrating and unhealthy as it's been. Yeah. So if that's all right, Bill, do you want to work on it too? And I don't want us to both crash into Roy at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, I think
Okay.
I've got a pretty good relationship with him, so
Okay.
I don't mind calling him, you know, bad names, because him and I, we understand each other that way.
And it should be emphasized to the residents that the trash doesn't go on the sidewalk. That I have complaints about that people out for a walk and on trash days, and the trash is on the sidewalk, doesn't belong there. That's a danger also. We could probably coordinate with the trash coordinator and get some information out. Okay,
Good.
Uh,
Thank you.
the only thing I have is Thursday, November 11th, Veterans Day service, 11 o'clock at Central Fire Station, 10?
10:30?
10:30, you're right. At the Central Fire Station. Jason's going to do a reading. I'll do the greetings. Other than that, I don't have anything. Unfinished business. Update on the water and sewer highway contract negotiations. You and Kathy were working on that?
No, actually, me and Rebecca met with Brian,
Okay.
and we discussed things. And we're gonna have to have an executive session to finalize our input, to put it back to the
The union.
10. So,
To put it back to what?
Can,
Do you want, when do you want to schedule it?
the sooner the better. If we could knock out that and finalize the contract, that would be great.
How long do you think that'll take?
I don't think it's gonna take more than 15 minutes.
Do you want to do it prior to our next meeting?
Oh, yes.
Or, what I meant prior to, I don't mean, I mean before the next
Oh,
meeting.
I'd like to do it this week,
This week?
yes. Because we also have to finalize the town administrator's contract.
We don't have much time.
I thought we were going to try and do the TA tonight.
We're going to try to get to that tonight.
Okay.
We don't have much time if we need to, Thursday's a holiday. We need to, if we need to post it.
But, next Monday or Tuesday.
Monday, the 15th? Next Monday, the 15th? Anybody have a problem with that?
I am really left. I haven't looked.
Monday, the 15th,
I'm not sure.
an executive session to deal with water and sewer contract. Is highway included in that?
Yes.
Highway, water, and sewer. Is that, Monday, November 15th, does that meet with everybody's okay?
Could we do it on the early side so that we don't chew up the evening? I'd like
Do it
to
on what?
do it on the earlier side so that we don't have to chew up the evening.
Well, I don't know whether Dan and Bill can make it much earlier.
Nope, gotta work.
Bill, what's the earliest
Well, I
that
work
you can
too,
meet?
so.
5:30 if I came.
Dan, what's the earliest you can meet?
6 and I'll be late.
5:30, and I'll probably be late too, and real late if I get a speeding ticket trying to make it here on 5:30.
Traffic coming down 97's a joke.
Is there another day that works better?
I've got stuff on my.
Next meeting.
All right, let's push it back then.
Push it back to the next meeting on the
Sure.
22nd. We'll schedule an executive session to start off with at 6:30.
Sounds good.
Okay,
Yep.
November 22nd.
Is that the Monday before Thanksgiving?
No,
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is,
it is.
Yes, it is.
22nd, that's right.
the 22nd. Yes, because I
Second,
pick up my
15th.
turkey on the 24th.
Second.
We'll schedule that. Okay, other items. Other items are not reasonably anticipated at the time of posting. I did get a request today, was left out, was field use for the Perry Park for Friday, November 12th,
Oh, for the parking.
noon to 9, and Saturday, November 13th, 7 to 5, parking for the annual church fair. We need to approve the use of the park. It's already been checked out by the water department. They'll have most of their equipment and pipes moved out of there by then, weather permitting, I guess. So we'll need a motion to approve the use of the field at Perry Park for the annual Congregational Church Fair,
For parking, right?
right?
So I'll make a motion for the use of the Perry Park Field for parking for the church fair on November 12th and 13th?
12th, noon to 9, and 13th, Saturday, the 13th, 7 to 5.
Okay, as stated.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Second. Any further discussion? None. All in favor? Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you.
Yes. So, Mr. Chairman, the unanticipated, I did not know if the lawyer would get back in time, but I did say to you that if he did get the contract back to us in time, if we could take a short executive session to review it. It's pretty much the same as what we gave him, and that's the only reason I would ask for that.
Okay.
As unanticipated, there's no big changes.
All right, you want to do that now?
Yes, if it's all right.
Yeah, we could go into executive session.
I have
Go ahead.
one more thing before we go into the
Yep.
executive session. It's been a few months now since we signed the new waste management contract. At the next meeting, could we ask the representative from Waste Management to come before us and explain to us how the new routing system has been going? What kind of issues that he's heard as opposed to what we've heard? How he plans to mitigate some of the issues that Ms. Castanella's brought up, such as broken down trucks or rather mechanical failures, so that we have a better handle on what they plan to do and how they're handling the business here in town, so that when residents call us, at least we have some better answers for them.
You want to see if we can get him for the next meeting, at the next meeting?
It would
Mr.
be
Boyer.
nice, well,
Yeah.
as soon as possible.
Okay, we'll see if we can get him on the agenda, and if he will attend, it should be okay if he attends by Zoom, I would think.
Yeah, if he doesn't attend, we won't pay the bill, tell him. Or we'll start dumping the trash on his front lawn. One or the other will get his attention.
Okay, we don't have any correspondence, so we're going to go into executive session. We won't be returning. We're going to end in executive session. Thank you, folks. Mike, thank you for your explanations.
Kat, did you get an email from them and
From who?
from town council on that?
Yeah. Go into executive session.
Wait for the
No.
camera in action.
He's got to say, cut, redo. Okay. I'll make a motion to go into executive session pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A, Section 2, to conduct strategy sessions in preparation for negotiations with non-union personnel. Votes may be taken.
I second that.
Oh, that's it. That was the whole shebang. Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Myself, yes. We're in executive session. Jason, thank you. Thank you for hanging in. We'll take a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn at
Motion to adjourn, is
8:38.
there a second? Second. No further discussion. All in favor of adjournment? Unanimous.
Good
Thanks,
night.
Jason.
Jason, you did a great job.
Jason, thanks for sticking around.